Had trouble finding that recording button, but hey, every once in a while that tends to happen. Welcome to the wonderful One Rental at a Time channel. We're doing a couple of videos today for Mike because he's off doing some super important stuff, as he always is, trying to make his community better. So, Dion, thanks for coming and hanging out and doing this with me. But the
Oh,
question that we've asked ourselves is, does it really take real estate to retire early? So you and I know what our answer is for us, but opine, does it actually take buying real estate to retire early?
so I make a lot of videos on early retirement is possible. Like that's
Right.
kind of my goal, is to get that information out there that we don't have to work until we die. We don't have to work more than 40 hours a week for more than 40 years to retire on less than 40% of what we made. And I get a lot of the comments because I chose real estate. I had a recent comment saying, well, should I not watch your channel then? Because I don't want to own rentals. Like, well, you should not watch a lot of the videos that are literally titled how to get your tenant to ask you to raise the rent, how to screen tenants, how to hunt for the next rental, how to choose a rental market, right? All of those, obviously, just, eliminate those. But there are many paths to financial freedom,
Mhm.
and a lot of them don't involve real estate. And when you hear statistics like the asset class that's created the most millionaires in the last 100 years is real estate, you would think, okay, maybe you'd want to do that. Or some of the tax benefits of real estate are better than any retirement account or any a corporate tax or income tax. So there's a lot of things that kind of push us to real estate, but it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It can be simple. It's not easy. That's the difference. A lot of people think when you say it's simple, they mean easy. No, simple means you want the properties to cash flow. How do you find it? How do you fund it? How do you keep it? And when it comes to reaching financial freedom, the idea is, the concept is, you need money that comes in from a source where you don't have to sell your life 1 hour at a time. For us, it was real estate. If you, so Matt, you started right after the dot-com crash.
Mhm.
You lost 90 plus
Basically everything.
percent of your investment in stocks. Let's say you didn't go into real estate. Was there ever a business you thought of starting and creating? Because this is one of there's three paths I'll talk about. The fourth one I don't understand enough to comment on, but the first one would be starting and growing a business with the intent of it growing to the point where somebody else runs the day to day, so you get your time freedom back. What would running a business look like for you?
I mean, I had a high I had a high demand job. Like that was just like not going to be an option. It had to be something that I could literally squeeze in anytime I possibly could. So that's why for me real estate was the fit, because it was like I could do it on some of the time that I had available on the weekends. And it was something that daily discipline, like Mike talks about, or Zoob talks about. It's that 20 minutes a day where I'm looking at my market, learning my market, understanding my market. But looking at other businesses, I think that enough businesses, 90% of businesses fail, new businesses fail. That's what the guy being all in and spending all of his time, all consuming, doing that job. 90% of them still fail. Am I that amazing that I can create a business in my spare time and spin it up and have it be a significant income to do that? Is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? Absolutely not. Is it probable? No. And for me, I'm not dumb enough. I'm dumb, but I'm not dumb enough to believe that I'm so much smarter than everybody else that the 90% of people that became millionaires through real estate, I'm not dumb enough to think that I'm smarter than all of them. And I'd rather go with the 10%. Just doesn't make sense for me.
So I did it twice.
Hmm.
I started a furniture delivery company, right? Leased a couple of trucks, got a contract with, back in the day, it was Levitt's, then went to the Bon Marché. Then it became Bon Macy's, and now it's just Macy's, the way that went. And having been in the Marines and my family being tree surgeons, a lot of people don't like furniture delivery, but to me, it was very easy work because it was just heavy stuff you had to move.
Mhm.
And my spouse emptied the taxes and the wages account, so I had to close down the business. So that didn't work out. Then I tried again, and I thought, here's the mistake I made the second time. I can invest in real estate while working full time and raising three kids. I tried to start a business while working full time and raising three kids. And so I wasn't involved in the business enough. And I ran a CDL school. So I had access to the thing that was hurting the most trucking companies: drivers. The driver shortage is a big problem. So I thought, well, I've got the golden key. I have access to 2,000 students here. I can cherry pick the ones I want to work at my company. But I wasn't involved in the day-to-day enough. And I took about 100,000 to get the company ramped up and going. And then I spent the next 5 to 6 months basically losing $75,000 to $80,000 running the company. And then it cost me about 20 grand to shut it down. So in total, I lost $200,000 to try something because it wasn't involved enough. So entrepreneurialism wasn't going to work for me. Like you said, it's like 9 out of 10 fail in the first 5 years, 9 out of 10 of those fail in the next 5 years. So you're at a small percentage of people succeeding with business. And that's probably the ones who take the risk and jump all in to do it.
Yeah.
So is it possible? Yes. Was it going to work for me? No. And I didn't even have a high income job at the time. I just, any job probably would have made more money in the beginning than mine. And starting a business would have been better if I jumped all in too, but I didn't have the time or resources. So the second way would be stocks. Now, because of the dot-com crash, you went through a significant loss in stocks. Had you just stuck with stocks, what would that investing look like? So it should have been starting around 2004, 2003, as that was recovering. You've had 20 years to invest in stocks. What would your portfolio look like? Now, you were a high income earner, so you had a little bit more money to deploy. But would you be retired at 46? Had that been
would not be retired at 46. No way. I'd be in pretty good shape. I'd have, probably well into the 7 figures, millions of dollars probably in the market at that point with all the appreciation. The issue is, and you can do that in, largely speaking, it would be index funds would be the best way to go. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be retired. No way. No way. Not unless you become a great stock picker. And again, working full time. I can't take myself away and leave a meeting to make a trade, and that wasn't a time. It's like I was doing E-Trade, but it took time for that to execute and be on my computer and all this other stuff. I didn't have time for that. I was in meetings. I was on the road. I was on a plane that didn't have Wi-Fi. You could get off your plane and then your phone, you click on your phone, you get 17 messages. And it's like, oh yeah, stock's down in half. Nothing I could do about it. I was in the air. I was in an airplane. I couldn't sell that. So that again lends itself to not really being conducive. And even if you give it to like a wealth manager, are they going to pay much attention to you when you're tiny? Like they're not. And now I can get pretty much anybody to pay attention to me.
I had that experience with a bank, right? Most of my life, I don't think I ever made more than $50,000 a year until 2018 was the first time W-2 income went up. It was like 61,000. So yay, I was rich. But after investing in real estate and letting the cash build up, and just before buying this last project, I had about $500,000 in the bank, about $480,000. And this, what do they call them? Relationship manager.
Oh, sweet Lord.
From the bank reaches out just to schedule a meeting. And I'm like, I took my son with me because I wanted him to see how this was. And the relationship manager tends to be an attractive person. Can be a guy or a girl, but they are a personality person. And so we're at the desk and they're basically saying, is there anything we can do to help our relationship? And I said, yes. You could have reached out when I had $50 in my bank because that's when I needed you.
Right.
And basically took all my money out of the bank and bought a property. So for stocks, for me, I basically started paying attention to money when I was 40. Divorced, single parent, 3 kids, $89,000 in bad debt I didn't know about until the divorce, and then started making $17 an hour after getting laid off from law enforcement. I got a job at a CDL school. So at that point, when I started paying attention to money, if I started investing in stocks, it's been 14 years now. I would probably be out of bad debt, maybe, because it was the cash flowing assets I was adding to my income source that eliminated the bad debt. I might own a house. I'd have 20 years left on a mortgage. Yeah, at least. And I would probably have, if I was able to consistently do 15% of my income into that retirement account or stock portfolio, a couple $100,000 in retirement. So I'd be looking at a minimum of working until Social Security kicked in. and I was at an age to pull money out of retirement accounts. So I'd have another decade of work versus when I was able to retire at 52. Probably could have retired at 48, but I'm one of those dummies that like their job and worked for another 4 years. So is it possible to retire with stocks when you start at 40? Yes. It's probably easier if you have a high income. It's definitely easier if you start early. If I'd started in my 20s and I had, decades for compound interest to do its thing, sure, retiring at 55 might have been possible. So I didn't have the timeline for it, and I didn't have the income for it, right? I had such a low income that house hacking more than once had the most significant impact on my ability to save money. We've done the deal a couple times where we looked at my fourplex, but yeah, cash flows, that's nice. But the $1 million in appreciation in 4 years, that doesn't suck.
No,
And that doesn't happen if you invest in stocks with less than $50,000 a year income. Now, yes, there's some lottery winners out there who did individual stocks and held the right one for the right amount of time. But that's not how I would have invested. I was working full time with raising 3 kids. I didn't have the like you did. I didn't have the time to focus and become a day trader. And actually, like 90% of the others, would have lost money. I would have been an index investor, a diversified portfolio. So that wasn't the best option for me, but it's possible. So if there's somebody out there going, well, I don't want to own rentals. Yes, start younger, make more. Stocks is an option. Go full in on a business. It's an option. It's a risky one. And then I don't know enough about crypto to say that it's possible, but it is an evolving thing. And in the next few years, we're going to hear more and more stories of the few people who succeed at it. Possible? Yes. The route for me? No. So I chose real estate. It is absolutely possible to retire without real estate. It's just in our situation with our resources and our goals, it was the best option. Starting today, Matt, if you were not going to invest in real estate and you wanted to work towards retirement and real estate wasn't an option,
okay.
what do you think you would do?
Oh, I don't know. Probably be the ringleader at a circus. I mean, being a landlord kind of qualifies you. I don't know that I don't know what is out there that you can invest the amount of time that you do, be around good people. Like a lot of potential landlords or landlords are good people. They want to help the problem, they want to help the system, they want to, be part of the solution. So for me, I don't know. And I look at it and I'm just like, all of this other stuff, like all of the other trades that I work with, their lives are miserable. And in their 40s, their bodies are breaking down. In their 50s, forget about it. I mean, these guys are hopping out of trucks and it's like, you need me to give you 5 minutes to hop out of the truck? Like they're broken, their bodies are broken. And so a lot of time it's, 20s and 30s, you're busting your butt in the field. Well, if you're not in management by the time you're in your 40s, you're probably in trouble because your body's just not going to hold up. And that's what I see with a lot of these guys. The body just not holding up. So I honestly have no clue what I would do. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'd figure something out, but you need money to start that business. Even with a small business loan, you still need know-how and a business plan and all this other stuff. And I think, can you find and create the right niche? My uncle, who is just, I'm a huge fan of, retired cop, retired conservation officer. And his dream, I kid you not, he owns a horse crematorium. I mean, that was not on my list in the top 10,000, but he's made a go of it. He's got a business. He helps people when they're in their worst moments with their horses. And, it allows them to still keep them around, but crazy business, but he's making it work and he's making money, but he's running a small business. And that's a lot of work. I mean, he's retired and he's working 50 or 60 hours a week, retired cop, retired conservation officer, working 50 to 60 hours a week on now a small business. And he's in his late 50s now. How much longer does he want to do that? So I just don't know. I don't know what the thing is that, maybe you can become an elite trader, but maybe you're like the 90% of day traders, like Dion said, that lose money. But maybe you can become an elite trader. Maybe you become an elite coder and you start slinging code like this amazing, development person. Maybe, but probably not. Probably not to the echelon that you need to be to actually make really good money at doing it. So I don't know what I would do. It would probably be a small business, but I would be signing up for the fact that I'm probably going to be working 50, 60, 70 hours a week for myself for probably 10 years before the business really became something where I could start to put other people in charge.
If it wasn't for real estate, I would have been a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Hmm.
All the way up until 40, I basically told everyone I knew I'm one of those guys that's going to work until he dies.
Hmm.
I had no retirement plan. I was putting some money into retirement accounts because before realizing that retiring before 59 and a half was possible, I thought that was a good tax strategy. And so I would have had some money in retirement, not much, and I would have had Social Security, and I would have worked as most truck drivers do into their 70s. Would have been like my dad, 75, die on a job site, like at work. That's what I saw in my future. I definitely wouldn't have been demoted down to the president of the truck driving school. Because the thing that allowed me to do that was when I started investing in real estate and I saw financial freedom was 10 years away. I then realized I don't need my job. I could do any job and reach financial freedom in 10 years. So I was able to take risks at work that worked out and got me demoted down to the president of the company. So in the last couple of years I was there, I made pretty good money. That wouldn't have happened without real estate because I wouldn't have had the confidence to take those risks at work. In the comments below, let us know which route you're choosing, because I understand not everybody is doing this one rental at a time. Is it possible for you to reach financial freedom without investing in real estate? Because, and here's the thing I'm going to finish the video with,